Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about the types of muscle contraction. And when we talk about muscle contraction, you have isometric and isotonic contraction. So let's talk about isometric contraction first. Now, what is isometric contraction? If we look at the name of isometric, then we will be able to tell what type of contraction it is. The word iso means same, and the word metric means meter. So we can see that it's isometer. So what does it mean? Same meter. And if you really look at the word, what does it mean as a whole? Is that isometric contraction is a type of contraction that the muscle have the same length while it is contracting. What do we mean by that? Now, let's look at this plastic container right here. Assuming that this plastic container right here is a very heavy weight. Now, and we look at the bicep muscle up here in the upper arm. At this moment, if we are trying to hold this heavy weight right here, this muscle, bicep muscle, has to contract, right? But in this case, the length of the bicep muscle stayed the same. It didn't increase in length, it doesn't increase in length, and it doesn't shorten in length. So as this muscle, bicep muscle, is contracting, but the bicep muscle stayed the same length. So this is a type of isometric contraction. Now, let's talk about isotonic contraction. What does iso mean? Iso means same. Tonic means tone. So this type of contraction right here, isotonic contraction, is a type of contraction that when a muscle is contracting, that muscle had the same tone throughout the duration of that contraction. Now, when you talk about isotonic contraction, we have two types. One is called the concentric contraction, and the other one is called the eccentric contraction. Now, let's talk about concentric contraction first. The word concentric means center. So, if you look at concentric contraction, it is the type of contraction that the muscle will be trying to shorten toward the center of that muscle. So you can see that concentric contraction is like concentrate toward the center of the muscle. So the muscle shorten as that muscle is contracting. Now, then when we look at eccentric contraction, like the word eccentric means not the center. So what does it mean? Not in the center, right? So what does it mean? That means the muscle actually lengthen during the contraction. Okay, so that's why you can see that in eccentric contraction, the muscle lengthen, increase in length. Now let's do an example. What do we mean by concentric contraction versus eccentric contraction? And also we'll include isometric contraction in this demonstration. So as we can see over here, we are holding a plastic container, right? And this plastic container, at this moment, the bicep muscle right now holding this, assuming this is a very heavy plastic container, the bicep muscle right now is doing isometric contraction. Why? Because the length of the muscle is not increasing and is not decreasing either for this bicep muscle. So just holding it like that, so this is isometric. Now, as we lifting assuming this is a heavy plastic weight, right? So as we are lifting this heavy plastic container up, you can see the bicep muscle shorten. And that is concentric contraction. Now, as we are letting this plastic container down, the length of the bicep muscle increasing. So this we have eccentric contraction. So you see the muscle lengthening. So again, at this moment holding it like this is at this moment when we're holding the weight like this is a isometric contraction for the bicep. As we are lifting this plastic container up, we are doing concentric contraction. As we are letting this heavy, assuming it's a heavy plastic, right, weight, as we're letting it down, the bicep is doing eccentric contraction. Okay, so keep in mind, don't forget that. When we talk about concentric and eccentric contraction, they are types of isotonic contraction. They are not isometric contraction. And how can we tell? Just by the name alone, we can tell that concentric contraction and eccentric contraction are not example of isometric contraction. Because the word isometric says same length. And over here we have concentric means shorten. Eccentric means lengthen. What does that mean? Shortening and lengthening cannot be staying the same length. So that's why we look at concentric contraction and eccentric contraction. Is it automatically excluded from, they are automatically excluded from isometric contraction. Okay, I hope this video helped you. Thank you for watching.